And it was match number 2 in the 2025 Asia Cup Super Fours, the all electrifying India versus Pakistan, second time within a week. A lot of controversy in the first game. India came on top. This game lived up to the hype. It was a game full of drop catches, big sixes, a lot of bowlers taken to the cleaners, as well as controversy on the pitch. A lot of verbal the game. I think it was a very, very interesting and fun game to watch and a lot to unpack. So bear with us because we got a lot on this stream today.
Yes, welcome back to another episode of the In Between Overs podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're your hosts for the day's play. I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishaan.
Awesome. How was the game?
Man, it lived up to the hype. So just for our listeners over here, Taran and I were able to actually meet up the night before the test, and honestly, all we could talk right before the match, and all we could talk about was a match. It was, with all the drama, with all the fallout from the first game, it just raised the stakes, raised this game to the next level. It's also the Super Four, so every game matters. Net run rate also matters. So a lot on the line, and oh my god, what a match! Pakistan, really, really improved a lot in this game, in my opinion. If you look at their innings from a batting perspective, a total of 177. I know we'll unpack that, but just from the get go, not a bad score to have.
I thought Pakistan would get to 200 the way they started. India looked so sloppy in the first few overs. The energy wasn't there, and you could see right away, which is what I've been saying before. Pakistan were going to punch back, and they did. They came out punching. They had a clear mindset of attacking India. Bumrah was taking to the cleaners in
Yes.
first 3 overs that he bowled, and they were really attacking every single bowler that came on, and you could see that they had a very positive mindset, and it showed. And Sam Ayub, they did that big move where they promoted Fakhar Zaman to open, and it worked. He looked good. There's a controversial wicket there, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but I thought Pakistan should have got to 200.
Yes, yes. Especially, I think the stat was they were 93 runs, 9.3 overs in. And, looking at that, that's very, very hefty. With a team like India, you gotta use that momentum for them for the middle passages. But I think you wanted to start right at the top, which I think is really great to start. Putting down Sam Ayub and promoting Fakhar Zaman. We know Fakhar Zaman, you know, issue with Pakistan over all these years is a team full of openers. And Fakhar Zaman was one of them. Electrifying. We all know how insane he can hit. And yeah, it did seem like the gamble worked. And it was funny enough. As soon as it happened, both of us were texting each other like, hold up, what is going on? But it did work out. At least for Fakhar Zaman. He was able to get a good start, but then interesting decision. And I know we were talking about this. I'm still sticking to my guns. I don't see any controversy in the call. I thought it was a clean. Thought the gloves were under it. The gloves are, people say, an extension of the fingers. So I had no issue with the call.
So I personally think it was inconclusive, just based on couple of the angles. So in one angle, you could see that the gloves were underneath. I think that was the front on,
Mhm.
the front on of the pitch. And then there was a side-ish angle, like a diagonal side-ish angle that was done where it just looked like the ground on the camera was not showing the ground or the grass close to the glove, just the way the camera angle was. So it looked like it was in the glove, but it could have bounced on the ground. And I think that that's what people were saying online and on comms as well.
Yes.
Obviously the Pakistanis did not support the decision.
Yeah, and you also saw some outburst, not an outburst. I mean, that's too extreme, but some comments from Fakhar Zaman as he was given the decision. Even when he's walking up the stairs, he did seem like he was not happy. Fair enough. Again, it was a big, big wicket, and Pakistan did have the momentum. But then Sam Ayub came. I think Pakistan was expecting a bigger innings from him, but he was able to get some runs under his belt, which is super, super good for him, at least opening his account in the Asia Cup. But then we get back to what we think is, at least from my opinion, the main point of the match. After 10 overs, after 9.3 overs, Pakistan had around 9 runs per over of a rate. and they should have capitalized.
Yeah, it looks like the turning point was Shivam Dube coming into the attack. I think when he got Sam Ayub out, that's when India were able to stranglehold Pakistan for a bit. Because I think it was from that point on, from the ninth, 10th over on. I think even Sky talked about it in the post match conference where he said it was after the drinks breaks where India turned on the screws and they were able to tighten, or not tighten, but curtail the runs. And so that put pressure on Pakistan to go bigger, and which caused wickets to continue to tumble.
Yes, yes. Though that junction was super, super important. And then of all bowlers, Shivam Dube, who has that insane stat, I think it's 30 or 40 plus T20 games unbeaten. He hasn't lost in a row, which is insane in my eyes.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah, insane stat to have. And if you have him, you want him on your team. So yeah, really insane stat. Again, coming clutch with for India, and it's from that sort of cohort of individuals in the T20 World Cup, where, as we talked about in that pod, in those podcasts, a lot of different players were stepping up. So it's nice to see that in this case as well. When Bumrah, as you mentioned, going for 34 off of 3 overs,
11s.
insane numbers you don't associate with Bumrah, but Shivam Dube, of all bowlers, who's bowling 117, 121 is able to get wickets. And to your point, it was maybe tricky as a pitch got a little bit older as well. The ball got softer, but that juncture as well is where I would say Pakistan had it difficult to make runs.
Yeah, shout out to Fahim Ashraf, who we said shouldn't have played this game, but he came in and it was his little cameo at the end there that got Pakistan to 170. Because at one point it looked like they would probably get to 160, which would have been way under par. 170, I felt still with the start they got was under par. They should have had at least 190, if not 200.
Yes, yes, and I think one quick shout out that we I think just failed to gloss over because so many things happened. Saheb Zada Farhan, big 50. He
Yes.
did slow down at the end. I think he was very quick, but he did slow down, I would say, towards out to the last 10, 11 runs in his innings. But big 50, second big score against Team India. So obviously,
Hmm.
he's been stepping up where needed. He's also had a stellar year. Interesting celebration as well at the end with the gun movements or whatever that was.
Oh, I didn't see the. I didn't.
It was like a machine gun celebration.
Really interesting.
So take it as you will. But what was your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, another solid performance by him. I'm surprised that he finished with a striker of 128 because he
Mhm.
started off again really well, but I guess he couldn't keep the momentum going. And Varun Chakravarti, although he didn't take wickets, it seems like he was the main person to slow down the rate, and he may have troubled Farhan as well because I know the Pakistanis can't pick him, and they can't pick Kuldeep either. And so they either mistime the ball or they get out. And it felt like that is what probably slowed him down. But he looked set for like a big score. He should have had at least 70 or 80 off of 45.
Exactly, exactly. You get that start, you're settled in, you just know what the pitch, you know the bowlers, you gotta cash in. So yeah, unfortunate for him, at least he didn't get a big score. Fortunate for India though that they were able to get him out after a few drop catches, might I add. So that did affect the game as well and the momentum potentially because drop catches, shoulders were dropped, but then innings change happened, and India went with their new T20I openers, Shuman Gill and Abhishek Sharma, and man, what in innings from both of them.
I think the new nickname for these guys is Abhi Gill. Is that
Is it
what it
Abhi
is?
Gill? Oh, of course it is. Of
It's
course.
Abhi Gill.
What was your thoughts on the hitting, especially the power play?
Man, what a start from both of them. Um, Abhishek, now you come to expect that, but Shubman Gill, like
Yes.
he just makes it look so easy. Like Abhishek is obviously trying to hit every single ball, but Shubman Gill is not.
No.
But he's still able to match close in terms of strike rate. but off by 20 strike rate points, but still looks so classy in the way he plays. You don't think that he's slogging at all, but he's still maintaining such a high strike rate. And together they look ruthless at the top because one's left, one's right, and they can both hit the good balls for fours or sixes, and that makes it extremely challenging.
Well, yes, and I'm one who's not a big fan of Akash Chopra analogies, but he called them fire and ice, which was, I think, apt for sort of how they approach it. And to your point, Shuman Gill played very, at least what it looked like, riskless cricket, mostly on the ground. I think he had one or two lofted drives, but as you mentioned, it was Abhishek Sharma taking those big risks. And I'm sure you've seen as well, it was chirp started from ball one
Yeah.
after the bouncer from Shaheen Afridi. I don't know if he said something first or Abhishek Sharma said something first, but there was some chit chat. And then after that, it just continued. And I would say it reached the height in Haris Rauf's first over. What were your thoughts on the little intensity shown by both India and Pakistan during India's power play?
Yeah, so it was hard for me to catch the game live, so I had to follow it on the highlights and on Cricinfo whenever I could. But from what I saw on the highlights, it seemed like there was some sort of battle between Haris Rauf and Abhishek, and then I saw on Facebook. I don't think I sent you the post earlier where someone recorded from the ground was able to capture the recording of Abhishek and Rauf getting into the thick of things, and the umpires came to separate them. So I guess it was just a heat in the moment thing. Maybe some words of exchanges, some friendly conversation was exchanged, which led to them just trying to stick into each other's faces. I don't know. I felt like just play the game at that point, but every now and then to get a battle between a batter and a bowler is always fun to watch too.
Yeah, yeah, and again, like I for one don't mind that intensity during the game when it's associated with the cricket, because obviously bowlers trying to, you know, mess up the concentration of
Mm.
the batter, and the batter just, at least these two people don't really care giving it back, which you don't usually see with batters. They usually, want to concentrate. It's usually the bowlers giving more chirp. Hey, young blood, new India, whatever you want to call it. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I think it was a good response. It's good for the game, but just keep it within the cricket. And hey, I think it started from even like there was also, I think, in Shaheen Afridi's second over. I'm not sure if you caught this, Taran, but Shuman Gill did a Amir Sohail where he scored a boundary and then pointed the ball to Shaheen Shah, telling him the ball's over there, go get it.
Man, I need to watch ball by ball. I didn't get any of that. I didn't get
I'll
any
send
of
you.
that.
It was very intense.
Yeah,
It was a lot of chirp
yeah,
and people
that's
trying to
awesome.
decipher why Ben Stokes was said a lot, but apparently he was said as well.
Of course, of course.
Yeah,
Man,
India with
what
a
did you
great,
think?
great start.
Yeah,
And then there was a little stop and play. I think Shuman Gill's getting some treatment. But first bowl after that small little asp bowled by our favorite all rounder from Pakistan. Beautiful delivery. I think it was I think it seamed in, right? It seamed in very quick.
yeah, yeah.
Cross seam delivery, I want to say, or no?
I don't remember if it was seam up or cross seam, but it jagged a little bit, and that threw off Gill. He played down the wrong line completely.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't get his 50. And then obviously then we saw the inclusion of Suryakumar Yadav, who does not actually have a good record against Haris Rauf, and Haris Rauf was able to get his wicket. What were your thoughts on on the little cameo from Suryakumar Yadav, who put himself as number 11 last game?
This is exactly why Haris Rauf should have played the last game, the first game, because Surya is a bad starter against fast bowlers, and again Haris Rauf got him out. And yeah, I guess he should have stayed in the hut because he probably wouldn't have been needed to bat otherwise. No, it was it was a good delivery, and I think he was just beating for pace, right? It was a leading edge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah, it was leading edge. I think he tried flicking him over third man, but it just went
Yeah.
opposite side completely. So obviously beating for pace. And yeah, got that wicket. Short little cameo from Sanju Samson, who we all know isn't playing in the position he best plays in. I think he had a one cover drive, which looked exquisite. But then obviously, I think he was again beaten for pace by Haris Rauf. Do you think that, maybe India should look at Jitesh Sharma instead of Sanju Samson? Although, I might add, Sanju Samson's keeping has been great.
Yeah, absolutely not. He can sit and wait his turn. Sanju Samson has done way too much in the last year to be dropped. Like he needs to be given a long run. If you drop him now, he's not coming back in the team. Your morale is going to be low. He's going to lose his confidence. You can't do that. I think he needs to play unless there's an injury. I don't see how Jitesh gets into this team right now.
Fair enough, but do you see the Indian think tank potentially think about that with the T20 World Cup coming up in India and, Sri Lanka in February next year?
They could. I think if Sanju loses form or they try to maybe change up the squad in the combinations, then maybe they could look at Jitesh because Jitesh is more of a finisher. And you sort of have two of them here with Hardik Pandya
Mhm.
and Shivam Dube. You can argue Akshar Patel, depending on where he bats. So you don't really need Jitesh in there. I can't see Jitesh being the type of batter to be able to consolidate as well. Sanju can do that. He can go up and down the gears, right? I don't know if Jitesh has
Sure.
that in his game. He probably
He's
does.
mostly a finisher.
But
Jitesh is mostly a finisher.
yeah, he's mostly a finisher. That's what he did for RCB in the last IPL, right?
Mhm.
So, but then you also have Rinku Singh in there in the wings as well. So if they wanted someone like that, they could even bring in Rinku Singh, right? So
Mhm.
I only see Jitesh playing if Sanju's having maybe a bad few games or the keeping drops a bit, like really bad, then maybe you look at Jitesh, right? But he hasn't done too bad. I mean, he did score he scored a 50 against Oman, right? If I remember
Yeah,
correctly, he
yeah,
scored
yeah.
a 50. Yeah. So he did something. He did something. He's given a chance. He did something. So I think he's good to go for now.
Okay, no, fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, with the dismissal of Sanju, then we saw our favorite Hardik Pandya always does something against Pakistan, always, which he got that first wicket against Fakhar Zaman, comes in, and it was basically him and Tilak Varma steadying the ship until we reached the shore. And I think Ravi Shastri said it very well. He said, I think after the game, he did the first words out of his mouth were India at shore and dry. Because it did seem like the storm was potentially going to make India wet in the first innings, but they reached. And if you look back, it was looked pretty comfortable the way that they had started it off from a batting perspective.
India, yeah, in 10 overs they scored 105 and so from there to they only needed what 70-ish runs from the last 10 and that should have been a walk in the park and it ended up being a walk in the park but there were some murmurs of a potential few wickets could have dropped but Tilak
Mhm.
Varma played a great innings. Played a really good innings. 30 from 19, 2 4, 2 6s, really held it together and then was able to stitch those little partnerships that got India over the line.
Yeah, and he's had two great innings against Pakistan, even the last game as well. He was at the
Mm,
end, making sure that, India finished off the job. And again, here at the end. So yeah, very, very good from him. Very encouraging. It was nice to see Pandya as well get some batting in for Team India. So yeah, I think it was very business as usual for Team India. This was probably their toughest competition in the Super Fours.
mhm.
And we could, again, anything can happen, but we can expect India hopefully winning the next two. What is your outlook on the finals? I want to say India's in the finals, but Pakistan now have to either win all their games or they're potentially out. And then you still have Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, potentially fighting for a final spot.
I think it's going to come down to Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka fighting for that one of the final spots. I think the one is locked in. Even though there's still 2 games to go, anything can happen. I hope we're not jinxing India. But India does not look like they have a weakness right now. The only weakness would come if they are either overconfident or arrogant in their approach and take it easy. That's the only way I think they lose games. If they just keep playing the way they know to play, I can't see any of these teams beating India. And so it just comes down to who's India gonna face in the finals. And Bangladesh pulled off the upset. They beat Sri Lanka. I don't know if you call that an upset, but yeah, they beat Sri Lanka and they could very easily beat Pakistan too. I could totally see that happening. We may we may again have an India-Bangladesh final. That is a total possibility. And this time we don't have Dinesh Karthik.
That's hilarious. No, we don't. We don't. That's a great. I think that's a great segue. I think yeah, great match. I will definitely look to review some of India's next matches as well. But I think the match that everyone's looking forward to is on Sunday. India against who? And yes, we're calling it India against who? India in the finals. Any last thoughts or comments from your end, Tron?
No, I think I'm good. I'm looking forward to the next few games, not just the India games, but the other ones too, to see who potentially could make it to the finals. Do you see any changes for India for the next game? I think they're playing Bangladesh, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I think you do the same changes as you did for the Oman game. You rest your key players. You play up the order. I think yeah. I don't think there's any must wins, at least from a desperate perspective. I think India.
You're saying rest players already?
Yeah, of course. I'm saying you got to rest Bumrah.
That's you really. I don't know if you can take it that easy. You
I
still
think
gotta
you.
win at least one more game. You
Yeah.
gotta win one more game.
Do you expect Bumrah to play all these games within a week? 4 games in a week? No way.
I think he's gotta play the next game. He
No,
has
and
to play against Bangladesh.
I think Arshdeep is good enough to replace Bumrah for the next 2 matches.
Damn. Okay. 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 But then what happens if India loses one and they're not in the finals?
Yeah, if India loses one, then you gotta play full strength. But I think at least for the next game, you can bring in Arshdeep at least. Maybe rest Harshit Rana, but you could bring in Arshdeep Singh.
Oh, man, that's a big call. That's a big. I'm keeping Bumrah. I'm keeping Bumrah in the team. I'm playing the same 11. I'm not taking no chance. To me, making a change now, I would see that as being overconfident or arrogant. I would totally see it like that. I would feel
And
like
you're
India's
forgetting,
taking.
sir. Sir, you're forgetting. This is Gautam Gambhir's team.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. So it would make sense then. It would make sense.
Yeah, I think it would. And again, one of the oddest times, agree with the approach. Not from a overconfidence perspective, but from a
Mm.
you gotta keep Bumrah good. Look, Bumrah had a historic bad game against Pakistan, but I'm also a believer in the law of averages. He's gonna come back in his best next game. So just save him for the finals.
And they're playing all these games at no, they're not.
It's
They're
quick
playing in Abu
succession.
Dhabi
It's back
too.
to back. It's very quick.
Yeah, but it looks like India, of course, India gets to stay in Dubai for all their games. So Pakistan and Sri Lanka are playing in Abu Dhabi. And then,
I love the little of course as a footnote.
I mean, I'm pretty sure India played all their games in Dubai. Let's see. No, they played
No, to play
Oman
one game
in
in Abu
Abu
Dhabi.
Dhabi. Yeah, they played one game in Abu Dhabi. Okay. Not bad. They played the dead rubber in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, okay. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They played the other two games. Yeah, they played UAE in Dubai, and they got to stay in Dubai, and they played Pakistan. I'm just curious. No, I'm not trying to stir anything, but I just want to see where
The
Pakistan
other
played. Okay, they were
schedules.
in Dubai. They were in Dubai too. They were in Dubai too.
There you go.
All right, so we're good. We're good. We're good. Proper schedules. Proper schedules. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. As always, we'll bring you the recap and review of the game. Yeah, let's see if our predictions stay true, and let's see if we do not jinx India. I don't see how we do. I think India is too strong to not make it to the finals, but let's see. Until then, that's stumps.